Hi guys, I hope you're all doing all right. It is nice to see you again after our summer break, and welcome back to Surge Online. We hope you had a good 6 weeks off. Hopefully you've had some fun, and hopefully the first week and a bit or so of school have gone all right. I know it's been quite a stressful and strange period this last week or so in schools, even from my own opinion working in them. So I hope you guys have had a great first week, being able to see some of your friends, some of your teachers hopefully that you like, and hopefully it's gone all okay for you. So I just wanted to pop on quickly tonight just to quickly give you an update on Surge and then give a quick message that I wanted to share with you tonight. All right, so first I'll start with Surge and then I'll get into what I want to say, and that'll be 5 minutes. My message tonight will be really good, so please tune in and listen because it will really be good for you tonight. Surge in person on Fridays, obviously we used to do before COVID arrived. So we are planning on hopefully returning Surge at some point. However, because obviously the restrictions are changing, every other week, we as of yet don't have a date on that. So we are going to try and do something when we as soon as possibly and safely can do so. Obviously, you can imagine it's quite difficult with the restrictions, and obviously we want Surge to be really fun when it comes back. As fun as it can be. So we don't want to just do something because we can and it not really be that good for you guys. So we really bear with us. We know some of you have been asking, and we're really so grateful that you contacted us to talk to us and tell us and ask us things. And we know you've been asking when we might be coming back. So please bear with us a bit longer. And we will definitely start it up as soon as we safely can do so, okay? But we love you guys and we miss you, okay? And then in terms of tonight, what I wanted to just talk to you briefly about is about running your race well. And you might think, well, what race? What race am I running? Well, basically, it talks in the Bible about running our race well. And I think if you think about it in terms of actually running a race, now I've run a few in my time. I'm not a good long distance runner, I've got to be honest with you. I've never been good at it. I'm very unfit when it comes to long distance running. I've sometimes been known to vomit at the end of long distance races, as Josh Owen and Jordan will tell you. Many funny stories about that. But I am quite good at short distance, as they will also credit to that, I hope. But anyway, I'm sure you'll agree, when it comes to running or races in general, we all have to have preparation. And I think there's 3 areas that we all need to do well in a race. All right, the first area is obviously food and drink. Now, we have to have food. We all love a bit of food. We have to have drink to survive. But we have to have the right food and drink to be able to be an athlete and to be able to run a race well. So you think about Mo Farah or Usain Bolt when he was running, or any of the other famous runners that are out there at the minute, athletes. They all have a diet, so they know the intake that they take is really important to be able to make their body perform to the best of its ability. So it's really important that they have the right food and drink to provide them with the best possible energy to win their races. The second thing after food and drink that we need to do run a race well, is encouragement. Now, everyone knows at bigger stadiums when they have the Olympics or if they have marathons, there's a load of people at the side of the road. There's tons of people in the stadiums, tons of people down the sides of the road, everywhere. And a lot of those people are cheering for their favourite runner, their particular nation's runner, whoever it might be, but they're encouraging that particular person or that group of people to come on, you can do it, you can win this, you can do it. And that encouragement is a huge boost. I think there is a particular quote and a statistic behind this, which I can't quite remember, but it's around this, like all sport, in particular running, racing and athletes will say that sport is 90% mental, as in your mind, and 10% physical in terms of being able to do things better. And this just proves the point that if we have positive people around us, encouraging us and bringing us up and showing us the way in the right way, we will most definitely run a better race. And it's just better than having negative people and negative energy around us all the time, as positivity can go a long way, and encouragement in particular can go a long way in helping us win a race. Yes, so the 2 points so far. Number 1 is food and drink, choosing the right food and drink to maybe make you run the race as well as can. And number 2 was encouragement. Always helps to have encouragement to be able to push on to that next level. And number 3 is discipline. Now, all the top runners and athletes in the world, in any sport whatsoever, have to be disciplined. Otherwise, they might get out of shape, they might lose fitness, and then they're not going to get to the peak of their abilities and perform as well as they would want to. And that also means doing things and pushing through when it gets difficult. Now, every athlete at some point in their life, I'm sure, will have an injury, they'll have a setback, they'll lose a race they weren't expecting, or somebody else will rise up who's suddenly better than them. They're always going to face difficulties, and it's about what they do in their moments and realizing they have to be disciplined in what they believe they should do and what they believe they're doing, and pushing on up to another level to keep going with their dream or their career or their running that race. Even in a single race, they could be struggling. Maybe something's happened unexpected in the race. They have to be disciplined and still keep going, even if they're in last place. So it's important to have discipline. So the three things of running a physical race well is food and drink, encouragement, and discipline. Okay, so they're the three things. And I want to apply that because what it talks about in the Bible is not necessarily referring to an actual running race. It's referring to our lives. So the race is like our lives. And I've got three things that relate to what I've just said, but in the context of our relationship with God as Christians. Okay, so taking the first one again, food and drink. That, in terms of our relationship with God, food and drink is like the Bible and prayer. Okay, now as Christians, we always need to be in constant contact with God, either through the Bible, through prayer, or through the Holy Spirit. And so those two things, are like our food and drink. So if we're not reading our Bible, which is the food, then we're going to be struggling because we're not going to be hearing what God has to say through that and all the stories that are in there. There's so many good stories and lives of people that have happened through the Bible. And you would think, because it's 2,000 years ago, you might think, oh, it's not relevant to me. There's so many different changes nowadays. There's nothing modern in them times. Well, yes, you're right in some ways because there isn't technology. However, every situation that happens now happened then. And you will be surprised about how much relates between now and then. So much, in fact, pretty much everything in your life right now has happened in the Bible in some degree or another and can be related to. And so it's really important that we get in our Bibles and read what God has to say through that, because it can really, really help us run our life or do our lives well. And so the drink part of that is prayer. And that is like our communication line with God. It's just like chatting with God. That's simply what it is. It sometimes gets blown out of proportion of what it is. It makes it too posh or too complicated. It is our communication with God. It's like talking to any other person in the world, except this guy that you're talking to is God. And God can help you with anything and everything and will never let you down, unlike any other person on earth. And that's simply what it is. It's you chatting with God about your concerns, about thanking Him, about praising Him, about telling Him about your day, about telling Him about your difficulties that day and what you'd like help with. It's just all these different things, and that is what prayer is. So your food and drink to be able to run your life well is Bible and prayer. Okay, so that's the first point that I talked about. Now the second one was encouragement, if you remember. And this is similar to running a physical race, in the fact that just like in a running race, it's also really important that we have people around us who can encourage us and bring us up and raise us well to be positive and really push on in our faith and relationship with God. And that means maybe coming to church on a Sunday. That means maybe going to youth when it's on normally, or contacting us guys and talking to us, tuning in to Surge Online or other things that are available like Limitless, Soul Survivor, all these different things which will encourage us and help us to grow in our faith with God. And I know you think it is harder now. I won't deny to you, those of you that maybe aren't plugged into a church, it is harder because the online stuff isn't as connectable as it would be in person. So it is difficult, but it's still important that we chase it and pursue that, because people and God ultimately can encourage us. So we need to seek those other Christians that are maybe a bit more experienced than us, whether that be us, me and Charlotte for you guys, or for me and Charlotte, or the pastors around us, Matt and Becky at our church, or it could be anybody else really that is a more experienced Christian that you trust, that you know is trustworthy and reliable, and they can help you and encourage you in your faith. So that's the second one, encouragement. So food and drink was the first, which is Bible and prayer. 2 is encouragement, is surrounding yourself with godly people, that Christians that care for you and encourage you and bring you up in your faith. Number 3 was discipline, if you remember. Now this is arguably one of the most, well, they're all important, but this is very important. And just like in a race, when you have to, maybe if you're in last, you really need to push and get that extra level in order to move up those and grow in that race and move in the positions. Just like in a race, a good relationship with God, you have to have discipline and to stand for him. Now, just like in a race where you might hit snags and things go wrong or whatever, so in our lives as Christians, it's not easy sometimes. And you may have experienced or may not have people mocking you for being a Christian, people just making fun of you generally, because people like to do that. You know, as I'm sure you've experienced in maybe another area of your life of bullying, but Christians are no exception to that. And being a Christian can be very lonely sometimes, especially when you're in school. I remember it well, you know, that I was known to be a Christian in most of my classes. And I remember being made fun of, you know, and they would say all sorts of things about me that weren't true. They would say, I couldn't do this, I can't do that. Why do you do this? Why do you do that? You're so stupid about believing that. And I remember it well, and it was really tough because I was very much on my own in those classes most of the time. There was no other Christians most of the time, or certainly ones that would be willing to say they were. And so it was really, really difficult. So I really do pray for you guys if you're a Christian and you're standing for that in those classes at school and wherever, because it is tough. But God sees that. And if you stand for him in those moments and in a loving way, he will bless you for that and he will look after you. And you will be rewarded for that if you stand for him in them situations. He sees everything. Maybe nobody else will. And he'll see what abuse you might get, what verbal, whatever it might be. And he'll see that. And if you stand for him even so, he will love you for it and he will reward you for it. Okay? So, what is the point of all this? What am I saying? See, there's a verse in the Bible in the New Testament in Galatians 5 verse 7 that says, you are running a good race. Who cut in on you to keep you from obeying the truth? That kind of persuasion does not come from the one who calls you. So what I'm trying to say, all these tips, these three different things that I've just told you about, are just little tips to help you run your race well, or in other words, live a life in good relationship with God. And that verse there where it says, who cut in on you to keep you from obeying the truth? I don't want to get to the end of my life and see God in heaven, and when you have to stand before him, I don't want him to say to me, who cut in on you to stop you from obeying the truth? I don't want other things, other people to stop me from running my race with God well. And so I want to try and be disciplined, I want to try and be encouraged, and I want to be fed and watered well, because I want my relationship with God to be as good as it can be. Okay, and the more we seek God, the more we look out for him in everything we're doing, and we're praying, and we're reading our Bibles, and we're going to church, and we're looking for God in everything we can do, and looking to see what he wants us to do, the more in relationship, the better relationship is going to be with him. So it's really important that even in the moments when we're finding it tough to stand for him, when we're finding it tough because maybe we're struggling, we've got no encouragement from the people around us, maybe our families aren't Christians, and it's really difficult to stand and have a faith when you've got nobody around you, especially in these times. It's really difficult. Can you understand that? You know, and there's another verse in 2 Timothy 4 verse 7 that says, I have fought the good fight, I have finished the race, and I have kept the faith. And I want that to be said about me. And when I get to the end of my life and reach heaven, I want to say that I have fought a good fight, and I have finished the race, and I have kept the faith in God. Because it's such a good life, and the Lord loves us so much, and we should really pursue a relationship. And the more that we look for him and pursue after him and do these things that we've talked about, Bible and prayer for food and drink, encouragement, go to church, being involved with Surge online and contacting us if you need it, or other Christians that you can trust and help you to get along in your faith, and discipline, standing for God when you need. Those three things are so important for us to have a great relationship with him. All right. I'm going to pray and then we're going to finish up. So God, thank you for tonight. I thank you that you love us and you care for us and you give us the Bible and other ways to talk to you through prayer and many other ways, Lord, so that we can have a good relationship with you, Lord. I just pray for anybody watching, Lord, that is struggling in this period of season with COVID or whatever, and maybe they're trying to seek you but they don't know how, Lord, that they will get into contact with us or somebody who is trustworthy and would look after them and raise them up in the way you want them to, Lord. I thank you, Lord, and I pray for anybody who's struggling, who's maybe been bullied at school for being a Christian. I pray that you will stand with them, Lord, and reward them for standing for you, and they'll give them confidence and the boldness to stand for you, Lord. And I just pray right now for each and every one of them and their families, that they're well. I pray health over them all, Lord, and I thank you for them. Amen. So guys, if there's anything you want to ask about tonight that I've said, or, if any questions whatsoever, just get in contact with us through the Instagram page or Facebook, or just message me on Messenger, or whatever way you can do it. All right, we'd love to hear from you. We love you guys, and we really want to see you soon. Yes, we'd love to see you soon.